March Madness is almost here, and did you know that there are currently only 8 teams that can win the national championship in 2025? In today's video, I'll be breaking down the teams that fit the criteria of a national champion and those that could by the end of the season. Let's jump into it. Since 2001, 96% of national champions have had a top 21 adjusted offensive rating, and 91% have had a top 31 adjusted defensive rating, according to KenPom. And if you don't know what KenPom is, let me explain. KenPom is a website created by statistician Kim Pomeroy that provides rankings and advanced analytics for college basketball, like the adjusted offensive and defensive ratings I just mentioned. And currently, there are only 8 teams that fit the criteria of a national champion, according to the KenPom data. And those teams are Auburn, Duke, Houston, Florida, Texas Tech, Arizona, Maryland, and Clemson. But let's look into each team a little more closely. First, we have Auburn, which has been the most dominant team in all of college basketball this season. They currently have a record of 26-2 and are 14-1 in the SEC, which is the toughest conference in all of college basketball this year. They're also number 1 in both the net and adjusted offensive rating for KenPom, number 12 in defensive rating for KenPom, and they have a record of 15-2 in Quad 1, which is the most wins out of anyone in the nation in the first quadrant. They're currently on a 5-game winning streak and are in first in the SEC by 2 games over Alabama, and also have Janiah Broome, who might be the player of the year this year. Next, we have the Duke Blue Devils, which is home to the most exciting freshman in all of college basketball, Cooper Flagg. Duke is currently 25-3 on the season and 16-1 in conference play, which lands them in first in the ACC. They're currently on their own 5-game winning streak, with their average win being by 31 points per game in their past 5. They have a net rating of 2nd, as well as an offensive rating of 2nd and a defensive rating of 4th, and they're only team on this list that's top 5 in both offense and defensive rating, according to KenPom. They're 6-3 in the first quadrant and 19-0 in quadrants 2 through 4, so they haven't taken any bad losses as well, and it's been an impressive season for Jon Scheyer and the team. Next, we have Kelvin Sampson and the Houston Cougars, who are currently 24-4 on the season and just clinched a share of the Big 12 title with their 16-1 record as they lead the league by 3 games. They currently have a net rating of 3rd, as well as an offensive rating of 8, to go along with that defensive rating of 3. Their projected seed right now is a 2 seed, but we could see them move up to a number 1 seed come Selection Sunday. And they're one of the best shooting teams in the nation, shooting over 40% from 3, in large part due to the shooting of LJ Cryer and Emmanuel Sharp. This team has been absolutely lights out this year. The Florida Gators are another contender, as they're currently ranked 5th in the net and boasts a top 5 offensive rating and a top 10 defensive rating as well. They're 24-4 on the season, 11-4 in the SEC, which is good enough for 3rd place right now. They did take a tough loss at Georgia earlier this week, but were on a 6-game winning streak prior to that. And they're one of the best offensive teams inside the arc, shooting 60% from 2-point range, which leads the nation. The Texas Tech Red Raiders are our 2nd Big 12 team on the list, and they're currently 21-7 overall this year, 12-5 in the Big 12 conference, which is good enough for 3rd in the standings right now. They have been on a little bit of a skid in their past 3, going 1-2 with a loss at TCU and a home loss against Houston, but this is in large part due to the injuries, specifically to Chance McMillan and Darian Williams. They currently boast a net rating of 7th, an offensive rating of 10th, and a defensive rating of 27th, and Joe Lunardi at ESPN has them projected as a 3 seed if the NCAA tournament were to start today. In Quad 1, they're 5-4, so they do have a few losses outside of the first quadrant, going 16-3 in quadrants 2 through 4, but overall the Red Raiders have been a very good team this year. Arizona is our last Big 12 team on the list, and they're currently 19-9 on the season, 13-4 in Big 12 play, but they're 2-3 in their last 5 games with losses to Kansas State, Houston, and BYU. They started off the season a little rocky, starting at 4-5, but have since improved and currently have a net rating of 9th, with an offensive rating of 17th and a defensive rating of 18th, so a pretty well-rounded team. They're 7-8 in the first quadrant and 12-1 in quadrants 2 through 4, but we do know with Arizona that they haven't been able to make it past the Sweet 16 with Tommy Lloyd, so maybe this year could be different. The Maryland Terrapins being on this list should not surprise anybody, as they have had a really solid season so far. They're 21-7 on the year, 11-6 in Big Ten play, and have a 15 ranking in the net. Their offensive rating, according to KenPom, is 20th, and defensive rating is 16th, so a very well-balanced team, led by stud freshman and big man Derek Queen. They're 5-6 in the first quadrant, 6-1 in quad 2, and then 10-0 in quads 3 and 4. They did, however, just take a tough loss to Michigan State on a half-court buzzer beater, but were on a 4-game winning streak before that, and I expect this team to go deep in March. Lastly, we have the Clemson Tigers, who are currently projected to be a 5 seed by Joe Lunardi. They're ranked 23rd in the net and have an offensive rating of 16 and a defensive rating of 28. They've only played 6 quad 1 games and are 4-2 in those, but they're 19-3 in quads 2 through 4. And they're currently on a 5-game winning streak that started with that big Duke win at home. They're tied for second in the ACC and are only 1 game back of Duke. So if the Blue Devils do slip up, you could see the Clemson Tigers take the regular season title in the ACC, and are led by veterans Chase Hunter and Ian Shefflin. And although there are only 8 teams that fit the criteria of a potential national champion currently, we still have a few weeks to go before the bracket is revealed, so here are a few others that could make it before Selection Sunday. Alabama has been one of the best teams in college basketball all season. It has one of the most prolific offenses. We just saw that as they dropped 111 in their last game. They're currently 6th in the net and have an offensive rating of 3, but a defensive rating of 39, which is why they're not listed as they're outside the top 31 in defensive rating according to KenPom. Then we have Michigan State, which has been very surprising this season, but one of the best teams in the Big Ten, currently leading the standings there. They're projected to be a number 2 seed according to Joe Lunardi, but they have an offensive rating of 27 and a defensive rating of 6, so we could see that offensive rating get close to that top 21 metric that we're looking for. Then we have Tennessee. They have the best defense in all of college basketball with an adjusted defensive rating of 1 according to KenPom, and that offensive rating is getting really close to top 21, currently at 25 in all of the sport. Then we got Iowa State, projected seed of a 2 seed right now. They've been slipping a little bit lately due to injuries, but currently have a net rating of 10th, an offensive rating of 23rd, and a defensive rating of 11th, and we're on this list just before getting beat by Oklahoma State this past week. A few other teams that could be up for consideration. The first one is the Wisconsin Badgers, one of the best offenses and the best free throw shooting team in all of college basketball this season. Currently have a net rating of 11th. Our offense is in the top 21. They're at 7th, but the defensive rating is in 37th, so on the outside looking in, but could be able to improve prior to Selection Sunday. Then we got Pat Kelsey in Louisville. They're really close. Offensive rating of 24th, defensive rating of 26th. They're currently projected a 7th seed, but they're actually tied for second in the ACC as well, so could move up. Then Illinois, although they've been very up and down this season, Brad Underwood's squad still has really great predictive metrics, according to KenPom. 18th in offensive rating, 35th in defensive rating, as well as being 22nd in the net. And then lastly, which is actually a big surprise, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Mark Few's team has not had the season that they wanted, but they do have great predictive metrics, which is why I'm looking to maybe push them a bit further than you would expect when I fill out my bracket come Selection Sunday. Currently have an offensive rating of 9th, so in the top 10 there, and a defensive rating of 36, so a serviceable defense, but we'll see if they're able to improve that and get into the top 31 to meet the criteria that we're looking for. Let me know your thoughts of who you're liking in the upcoming NCAA tournament in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all things college basketball and March Madness, and we'll see you in the next one.